YouTube, my name is Alice Nightbird and these are Nightbird Vlogs. So, I wanted to take a few minutes here and talk about a few things. This is not going to be a rant, it's going to be more informative. I am also recording this on Yule, so get into that in a moment. But there's going to be a few videos today. I'm just trying to get all of them out of the way, as it were, so that I can just sit back and enjoy the holidays with my family. So let's just dive in. First off, I wanted to talk to you a little bit here about some of the symbols that I wear, because I'm sure that you've seen them, and it may not be something that you're familiar with, so I wanted to talk about that. First and foremost, of course, is going to be the Pentacle, which I'm sure there are still some people out there who are dead set that this is a symbol of Satan. It's not. What we're looking at is earth, air, fire, water, and the fifth element, spirit, along with a circle symbolizing eternity, or the universe. This is also primarily a feminine symbol. If it is upside down and does not have a goat head in it, then it can in some traditions also be a symbol for male energies, or the horned god, or the green man, even. If it has a goat head, then yeah, no, you're probably dealing with a Satanist. I'm not gonna lie. But that's one. Something else that I, of course, wear. Of course, I know you have the pin. I also have the Chaos Star, which is not something that you see very often. It's not something that a lot of people wear. It's not something that's typically associated necessarily even with most forms of witchcraft. There are two basically types of people that wear this sort of thing. One are, for lack of a better word, chaos mages, who specifically use their magic to cause some form of chaos or change. I do not. I do not have to get magic involved with that. What I do is I challenge the status quo, as it were. Somebody says, this is the way it is. My first question is, why? So, that's kind of my perspective on it. That's why I wear it. Everything that I have on my neck also has some form of connection to a deity or a group of deities, so that's another matter entirely. We'll get into that later, perhaps. Another, of course, is a little silver feather, which I wear as a connection to the Native American side of my spirituality and my genetic history. So primarily this is for Selu, or Corn Mother. And we have the Valklut, which is both a symbol of transformation, normally from life to death, death to life. It is also a symbol of Odin, which is the primary reason I'm wearing it. Lastly, we have the Triskelion, which is always a feminine symbol to my knowledge. Maybe there are some deities that are associated with it and that makes it a bit male, but to my knowledge this is always a female symbol. The maiden, mother, crone, all of that. I in particular wear this as a connection to Freya. And then let's talk a little bit here, because like I said, we have Yule and Christmas in the same week. This normally happens, but in the same calendar week even this time. So I wanted to talk a little bit here about the similarities and some of the differences, because there are many of both. First and foremost, you can see I'm wearing green and red, which is very much a Christmas color combination, I should say. For me, I'm wearing the red and green for Yule, because it even comes right down to the makeup that I'm wearing today. So, red is all about what you're always associated red with: fire, passion, drive, prosperity. And we have the green, which is more for symbolic of the return of life to the world after the winter is over. That's why I wear these colors. That's why a lot of pagans have still adopted the red and green. There's sometimes gold, sometimes silver. I'm wearing plenty of silver today. But these are some of the similarities that we have just from straight up color. Then we come down to some of the similarities in how people actually practice these two holidays. Because, typically speaking, I may not do it tonight because it's been a long week already and it's only Monday. But normally we would break the night, as I call it, where we stay up all night from sunset until sunrise. We see the first new dawn of the new season. Probably not going to do that this time, just because it's kind of hard. I'm getting a little older, and after like 1 or 2 o'clock, it's not happening anymore. But in years past, I have done this, and it's nice. You sit around a campfire if you can, or some form of, campfire, bonfire, a fire pit, or something of that nature. Fire is very important, because we're talking about the lighting of the new dawn, like I said. This is not really something that you see with Christmas, obviously. However, something that you do see in both Christmas and, to an extent, in Yule, is a bearded man bringing gifts. I know it has nothing to do with Christ. People wonder why we do it. There are many, many answers to that question, especially when you consider Santa and his 8 reindeer, or Odin and his 8-legged horse, Sleipnir. You would you would either hang stockings or boots, which is really what the stocking looks like anyway, out with carrots and hay for Sleipnir, so that Odin could feed him on the wild hunt, which is something that's supposed to happen tonight. Another thing is, of course, the Christmas tree. There are many different variations on this. Probably back in the day, they did not bring a whole tree into the house. Giant log, sure. Hence the Yule log that even Christians use. But this was a log that would burn all night long. It's okay. You keep the room bright and keep the room warm throughout the entire night, the longest night of the year. You needed it. As far as evergreens, yes, there were always going to be evergreens involved, which you see as a pine, in both of these traditions here. Primarily, it's something that stays alive through the darkest time of the year. It's a promise that life will return, and that's what these pine trees and pine garlands and pine wreaths and everything like that really symbolize. It's a promise that life will return. On top of that, we have holly and mistletoe. Now, there are a few different variations on this, and it mostly comes from Celtic traditions. And I've heard it a few different ways, but together they're a very strong fertility symbol. Because, and it's mildly gross when you think about it in this particular term, the whole kissing on the mistletoe thing, but holly, among many, many other things, is supposed to represent the hymen. Mistletoe is supposed to symbolize semen. And yes, in Nordic traditions, one would meet or kiss under the mistletoe for fertility for the next year. If you're trying to conceive, this is a thing that you would do. If you're trying to have bountiful crops, if you're trying to have bountiful, ewes or whatever, here you go. Gift giving is also a fairly common thing. I'm not sure how historically truthful that is, but in modern practice, yes, basically, our Christmas happens on the 21st or 20th, depending on the year, and then A few days later, the Christian Christmas happens. Both of these, in modern times anyway, involve the giving of gifts. Now, I've seen some practices where there's a gift blanket, where they lay out a blanket, and everybody that comes to that party or whatever lays out an item that they're no longer connected to, that they no longer feel needs to be a part of their life. And then people step forward at the end of the ritual that they hold, and you pick one item that calls to you, except for the one that you just put down, because it's, Another is just something that I prefer to do, actually. That is a wonderful tradition. If you have enough people to make it happen, by all means, do that. That is a wonderful tradition. Another one, though, is giving gifts that are meaningful, useful, or connected to one's faith. If you're going to go for Yule. Like, I fairly often give altar pieces, basically, to people that I know will appreciate them on Yule. Something that they don't have, something that they have mentioned that they want, or would like to have as part of their practice. I will gift them that. Christmas, let's be honest here, is very, very commercial. It seems, for most people anyway, to be more about worshipping the almighty dollar than any deity, which is kind of sad, really, because if you're going to be part of the religion, be part of the religion, and not be all consumerist and everything. Like, I read the Bible, you may be on the wrong track there. But we come down to a few things more. I think if there's anything else I can put in this. Anything else that goes along with this? I do find it funny that in some traditions anyway, Yule is viewed as being the rebirth of the sun god. And then Christmas is the birth of the son of God. It's probably on purpose. Just to hit sun. Sounds like sun. I don't know, but I kind of suspect that that's where that may have come from, because Jesus was not born in December. He would have been born in early spring, at least in early spring. I think I heard somewhere that he was probably born in April, I think, was one theory that I'd heard. Which comes down to another thing. I'm not trying to tear anyone down by any means, but there are things that are just part of the popular mythos that are not true. Like, the image of the nativity itself is not true. Like, sure, this presumably historical person may have been born basically in a barn. Fine, I get that. But the wise men, this is the biggest one, the wise men. In the Bible, it tells you that they did not find Jesus until he was 5. It took them 5 years from traveling from village to village to village to village to village. Hey, did you have any sons born this night? In order to find Jesus. The others, shepherd, sure, maybe. But the wise men? They were sent out that night. They did not find him that night. But they were sent out that night, according to the Bible. So, there's that. I think that's about all I really had for the Yule and the symbols I wear. And I'm actually wearing a couple of extras, like this ring for the triple goddess. Because really, a fire ring. Those are fairly self-explanatory. I didn't feel to cover them too extensively. But, like I said, there are other videos that I'm going to be filming today, so if you see me wearing the same or similar outfits, same makeup, don't freak out. I swear I'm okay. I'm not doing the same thing every day. This is just me getting these all done so that I have time to spend with my family. So for now, as always, peace, love, keep being awesome.